Hello everyone and welcome back to Send Its Weather channel. Well, it's doing well at the moment, isn't it? So we are looking at the CFS model today. What do you expect from me? And I have to issue a warning before we start the video that I may start talking about the weather. I do apologise. I know this is a weather channel, but I shouldn't be talking about it so much, should I? Shouldn't be talking about weather so damn much. But yeah, we're looking at the latest today, and I'm going to drop some big bombshells on you all as well as this amazing run. Well, my first prediction is if you do like today's video, why not leave a like and subscribe to the channel? We are about 80 away from 2,200, and I really do appreciate your continued support. It's been mental recently, and I'll keep doing them, as well as the regular forecasts as well. They'll keep being thrown in. But I wanted to show you something which I think will actually come off, and that is a cold Halloween. I reckon that this pattern, which the CFS Midnight run is showing, of high pressure to our west and low pressure towards Scandinavia, with a cold northerly wind, will actually come off. Reason being, I think that the high latitude blocking will be an important factor this season. This was at the end of autumn, I should say. At the end of the autumn season, I do think that high latitude blocking will be very likely. This sort of ridge to our west, it has shown it quite a few times as well, if you've been watching the previous videos. Obviously, it might be less long-lasting than this, but it might last longer. You never know. But I do think that we will see quite a cold and potent cold spell around October time. But that's the first winter bombshell. That's the first bombshell of this video. Now then, here we go on with the main brunt of the video. We're looking at the 18Z run today from the CFS model. We're going to start on 27th of November for no other reason when it looks quite interesting. We've got higher pressure out to our west, blocking in the Atlantic, and we've got an area of low pressure over Scandi, and winds are in from a gentle east-northeasterly wind into the far north, and that begins to take over. We've got the higher pressure basically stronger to our west than the areas of low pressure trying to move in through the Atlantic. But with this CFS run, unfortunately, we start on a mild, wet and windy note at times. Areas of low pressure sliding southwards through the country, bringing bouts of wet weather through the first week of December, before heights do rise out to our west a little bit and we get a little ridge in the Atlantic. And a squawking pigeon behind me, who's been very vocal and obviously loving these winter videos. We've got higher pressure out to our west, lower pressure to our east. Winds turn into a proper northerly direction. And we bring the -5 line through the country, maybe even bringing a few wintry showers in. Higher pressure remains out to our west before a resurgence takes place. Warm air advection takes place, pushing the high pressure back towards Greenland. You can see we maintain a northerly wind for about a week there. The -5 line is through the country. We've got an area of low pressure in the North Sea, bringing wet weather, or snowy weather, to the east, I should say, along the east coast. We've got areas of low pressure sliding around the country. We've got milder air trying to approach from the southwest with this area of low pressure, trying to move in from the southwest, and that's going to be trying to turn things milder. But we've got a proper block around Greenland that is just keeping things very settled. We've got areas of low pressure trying to push in from the south. Big snow events there on the 15th. Around that boundary there, you see that little green area, you can see some very heavy snow in this region. So, for example, this would be the Midlands northwards, could see some very heavy snow for a time. Does turn milder briefly, very briefly, so we do see more Atlantic driven southwesterly flow. But look what happens up to Christmas. Heights are still slightly higher towards Iceland there, and you can just see there's the cold air going into Scandinavia. Got an area with low pressure, that's going to clear out the way, and watch what happens next. Whoopsie daisies. Watch what happens next. Here you go. That area of low pressure clears to our east. The jet stream begins to sink southwards. You can see it's set over central southern England. And then we pull in some cold air from the east with higher pressure towards Scandinavia. And boom, 24th, cold air begins to sink southwards. And look, on the 25th, we've got really cold northeasterly winds into all of the country. Areas of low pressure trying to push in from the west, they're trying to turn things milder, and we've got ridging to the north still present. So -5 line through the country, snow day for many probably, with those easterly winds bringing in a few snow showers on the Christmas day. Yes! Finally a cold Christmas on one of these runs. And it actually stays around for a couple of extra days into Boxing Day. Higher pressure still towards Iceland, bringing in that easterly wind. Got that area of low pressure pushing in, bringing in its milder air. That's actually going to be bringing in a big snow event probably. that actually breaks up as well because the high pressure is still strong enough to maintain it. So this area of low pressure slides through the south. That's going to be bringing snow to the south, probably quite a lot of snow actually with that little feature. Things do turn milder again though, with areas of low pressure moving through the Atlantic through the first week of January. Heights build over the top of the country again into the second week, and you can just see plenty of ridging trying to get going. So by the 17th of Jan, high pressure is out to our west, and we've got low pressure to our east, bringing down a cold northerly wind again. The wind flips around into a northeasterly direction as higher pressure builds towards Scandinavia, turns the wind into an easterly direction, send it to Scandi, and that brings in some more cold air for a time. Doesn't last too long, however, as higher pressure ridges back through the country. But as you can see, higher pressure's on the move again. Sits just over to the north of the country, keep things mostly dry with the wind in from an easterly direction, but properly builds back out to our west towards Iceland and Greenland, coming a mid-Atlantic ridge, and we've got the polar lows sliding through Eastern Europe and higher pressure out to our west, bringing back the cold air from the northeast. And this is properly cold air. -10 line gets through the country again. Proper easterly winds, areas of low pressure sliding through the country. Plenty of snow potential here. We've actually got an area of low pressure wrapped in that cold air with the -10 line, bringing in plenty of snow, probably drifting with that. Blizzards possibly. It's absolutely ridiculous. But you can see heights remain strong to our northwest, and we've got areas of low pressure sliding around the country, -5 line through, and that is pretty cold. Very cold, probably very frosty nights, probably minus double digits for many. Single figures or below 0 during the day, and plenty of snow. But unfortunately, this run breaks at this point, but don't worry, because we can use the skip button to get to the next available frame. So unfortunately, this skips us into the second week of Feb, but fortunately for us, it skips us to an interesting frame, where again we've got higher pressure out to our west, beginning to drag in a northeasterly wind once again by the 13th of Feb. So colder air beginning to sink back southwards again. Higher pressure builds towards Scandinavia and Iceland and drags the wind into an easterly direction again. -10 line surging into northern Scotland. And here we go again. Higher pressure to our northwest. Got areas of low pressure diving to our southeast and bringing in this bitterly cold air from the northeast. -10 line through the country again, turning things really cold. Areas of low pressure to the south, bringing snow events to central southern England there. Wow, it's just absolutely insane, isn't it? But again, heights just strong to our northeast, allowing these easterly winds to really dominate. Easterly winds are a big theme of these winter runs so far, I must say, bringing really cold air. Source of cold air these days is from the east, to be honest, so it's something that you would expect. Something else I wanted to bring up was the NAO forecast. If this is in a negative phase, I should say, so between 0 and -1, that is a negative NAO, and that indicates the higher than likely chance of blocking patterns developing towards Greenland or to the north. And as you can see, if we look at the trends through the summer, which is between June and September, a lot of the time we have seen a negative NAO at the worst times. Most of the time we have actually remained with a positive NAO, but as you can see in recent weeks we did actually have quite a prolonged period through September of it being negative, where we did see a lot of blocking developing. So could that be a sign of things to come? Possibly. We do see a lot of times where reiterating patterns through the autumn lead into the start of winter, so a northerly blast, easterly winds, which we are seeing at the moment, easterly winds at times. So possibly it could be something to look at in the future, and might be something that everyone's praising me for when a cold winter comes off and it's bitterly cold, snowy. You can all thank me when it's a really cold and snowy winter if you're into that sort of thing. I know not everyone likes these sort of winters, but they're very rare, they happen barely, and sometimes it gives us hope. You get your summers anyway, you can have your 30-degree summers. I'll take a cold winter any day. Thank you all very much for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Leave a like and a hype if you enjoyed, why not, you know. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.